Okay, hello. This is a very quick guide to using Photoshop in the context of your development particularly. What we're looking to do is to add a bit of colour and to transform some of our basic sketches that we've made. What we're looking at here is an example of a work in progress page, not yet complete, with some initial sketches. What we would do is we'd take one of those sketches and we'd first of all save it. We'd save it as a JPEG, should be default, to something like My Pictures. I'm going to call that Canoe. Canoe spelled correctly. Okay, and then we're going to go into Photoshop and you're going to open up the Canoe. Photoshop lives under ICT, I believe. Yes. Okay, so open up Canoe and this will happen. You'll first of all notice that the layer that's come in is a single layer which is locked. You can create a new layer by going to this button here, and you can copy this layer if you want to by dragging it down to there. However, to unlock it, all you do is double click and then click OK. Now we can work on this layer. Now I'm going to create another layer which is above. Anything I draw on this layer, let's say in black and white there, is going to be above. If I drag that layer below, now we can't see it because it now lives underneath the Canoe. Okay, to delete a layer, you just click delete or hit the delete key on your keyboard. Let's drag it into there. Okay, so one of the things you can do is you could create a new layer as a background, take it underneath there. On this layer, we could have a kind of background fill, a little gradient fill, but we won't be able to see anything yet because of this white that lives above it. So let's go onto this layer. You have to work on it, so click it. Use this magic wands tool, which is that one there. Click the background and hit the delete key. And that gets rid of anything. Similarly, this select magic wands tool, it picks defined kind of islands, if you like. It can be fussy or unfussy. You can tell it how fussy. The lower that tolerance, the more fussy it will be. In slight changes of colour, slight differences in the types of blue, it will start to pick it. If you go right up to say 90, it will be far less fussy and it will pick larger variations in colour. For what we're doing, black and white things with a black outline, tolerance makes very little difference. To deselect, just to demonstrate what happens, if I want to delete now, I can delete anything in there, but you'll notice that I can't select anything, I can't draw anything outside of that selection. So that's very useful. Control Z is the same as edit undo for all packages. Okay, so what do I want to do? I want to just deselect that, so you go to select, deselect, and you notice that's also Control D. That's very important. Other ways, let's deselect. Other ways to select that would be using the lasso tool. We have the basic lasso. Click and hold. That selects that area. Control D to get rid of that, or click and hold magnetic lasso. This one detects outlines, works very well for bold outlines, and you can go quite fast. If it's a JPEG and you've got like a green background around a tree, it's far more fussy. You want to put lots of clicks in to make sure it's selecting the right thing. As soon as you see a little circle appear, it's completed that loop. And that's another way of selecting things. Control D. Okay, so let's now give this a background. Go onto this layer. I want to go from a blue colour. Always go for light colours, I think, looks more professional. A light blue to a dark blue, but you notice it's still grey down this selection window. The reason is you need to go to Image, Mode, and RGB Colour. Okay, if you have made different layers, you'll notice that's the wrong time to do it. It should be the first job you do, really. You need to merge them now to allow that to happen. Okay, so I've lost now my backgrounds, which is a shame. I can put that layer back in and drag it down there like so. Okay, so I'm going to go from a light blue to an even lighter blue. Something like that. Using the gradient tool, if I draw a very small line, you can see it's a very sharp change between those two colours. That's a diagonal line, or I can go much further, like so. I can even go off the screen if I want it to be more subtle. That's already looking fairly nice. Let's go back onto this layer now. You can do a number of things if you click that layer under filters or layer styles. Bevels is not what we're looking to do. That's pretty horrible. Control Z. What we are looking to do is to do some drop shadows, maybe. A simple drop shadow there. I'm on the one, I don't know how I clicked on the background there. Onto the correct layer, under drop shadows. Again, that just gives it a nice pop. There's nothing wrong at this stage. We've just going File, Save as a JPEG, and then just copying that, and then taking that straight into your. In fact, let's do that. GNU copy. Going back into your PowerPoint, and next to that you can go Insert Picture. GNU copy. Did I make that a JPEG? I don't think I could have. Oh, there. I need to click JPEG options. You don't need to be that high quality for this. Drop it down to something more sensible. Go back to this. Insert a picture. GNU copy. And there we have that image. I'm sure you agree that looks a bit more professional. Other things we can do is to sort out any wheels, any issues like that. Let's turn off the background for now. What I could do is erase this, but when I erase this, I'm erasing the whole layer, so perhaps that's not what I want to do. Control Z. What I do want to do is make it go white, so use this pick tool, eyedropper, click that, then we go to the brush, and you can now basically erase using the same colour. And you could choose to redraw that circle. When you draw shapes, make sure that you hold down Shift if you're doing a. I've got to try and find the. I remember where these live now. Shapes. Right, hold down. Let's do a circle. It's an ellipse. That is an ellipse. If you hold down Shift, it will draw the proper shape. And then we can move that separate layer around, and we can play around with that. I'm not going to do that in this video. That's up to you. You can skew things in the corners like so. I'm going to just leave it alone for now. Now, go back to our correct layer. Let's delete this layer. On our GNU, if you make a selection using the magic wand, let's get a brush. Now I'm going to say a GNU is plastic, like a fiberglass. Let's pick a plasticky colour, which I would describe as being red, or something that's not natural, so everyone can understand what it is. If you pick that colour, get a brush. We want to have it very transparent, so not very opaque. Drag that down. You want to have a nice big brush. It's a little bit too small. Let's have it up a bit. That's not too bad, and this kind of effect is what we're after. This allows you to build up what you're doing in layers. Okay, and that may help to give it a bit of impression of it being 3D. Okay, deselect at this stage, turn back on this background layer, and again we could save this, and we're making inroads. Okay, let's take another example. Let's go to File, Open, and I'm going to open up something I've just saved in the same way, which is this one here. First job, I'm going to go to Image Mode and make it into a colour image. It's a colour JPEG, and we can introduce some more bits and pieces. So the same, in a similar fashion, I'm going to create a new layer as a background. Oh, I can't drag it past this one, so I need to double click. Drag that down there. I'm going to select all of the shape now. As long as there's no gaps in here, it should select what we want. I'm on the wrong layer. I'll click on the correct layer. I'll try that again. As long as there's no gaps in this line, it will pick the outside. I can hold down the shift key and I can pick the inside bits as well. Hitting delete should delete everything I want. If it doesn't, you need to zoom in. Control plus is a good enough way of doing this. The way I use is Window Navigator, and that's so useful that I tend to keep that off there so I can find it easily. You can see the square that you can move around indicates where you are in your drawing, and it's a quick way of moving about. Control D here. Now if there was a gap in here, I could zoom in, so just drag it in and then go up to where you want to be. Let's imagine that there was a gap. I'll just make a gap. Let's imagine that there's a gap here, which means we couldn't select the background easy. Different things you can do. You can use the black, so click this one here, go to only web colors, so you get basic colors that you can get every time. Click a black, and then reduce your brush size to something about the same, and you can draw a line. Now if this is black, but often you find that a pencil is grey, in which case just use the eyedropper to pick the same colour, and that's now in your palette, and then you can carry on as per normal. If you wanted to draw a straight line, what you need to do is to click somewhere, hold down the shift key, and then click somewhere else, and it will draw a straight line between those 2 points. That's a very useful thing to know. Control Z, just to erase this. Okay, if we're building this up quickly, this is only sketches, don't forget, we don't need to be too precise. All we really need to do is pick a colour. Let's have a browny colour if I can. In fact, I'm not too concerned about it being brown at this stage, but let's say that is our browny colour. Then we can hold down the fill button, and we could fill all the edges that are facing the same direction, so all the parallel edges we can fill, and then all the see, this doesn't actually work as a shape now, so this is where I do need to zoom in. This is actually facing the other direction. This, and this are all facing to the right. That's facing to the right, and this is facing forwards. So I do need to actually go in with my pick tool, pick a black, let's pick a brush, draw a line from here, hold down shift to here. Hopefully that enables me, not perfect but good enough for what we're doing, that enables me to pick a lighter colour. So let's hold down the dropper, go into this, let's have a lighter colour than what I've just picked, slightly different, and I'm going to fill from here, 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 and you can see that's hopefully starting to make sense. Things facing upwards can be a different colour again, maybe that is facing the light a lot. Let's have those ones like so. Okay, at this stage you might decide I'll give it a little bit of structure, hold down the magic wand, so I should click magic wand, sorry, pick that. Now using a brush, let's go back to opacity, let's pick a darker colour again, and using a nice big brush, bigger than that, bigger than that, not as big as that. Let's try that. Okay, I could just say, well, let's just pretend it's got casting a bit of a shadow there, just to make it look a little bit more realistic. The tip with this is always keep the opacity down and build it up gradually. Okay, once you've done this, let's Control D, let's give it a background between, let's say a nice light blue and white to be fine. On the correct layer, let's just do that, and we'll give it a drop shadow again. You might decide to give it the opposite, an outer glow. Give it a little bit of an outer glow. That's horrible. It's been a while since I've played with this. Simple outer glow maybe. Doesn't appear. You can play around with these. Not working for me at the moment because I'm working on the layer. That's why. Okay. So that had marginal effect. If it was a darker background, that would have been more impressive. Let's just delete that. New layer. If that was darker, just to show how that does look, let's have a dark colour. You wouldn't do this on the background. There we go. So the simple glow there can be quite nice to give it a bit of a pop as well. Okay, I'm going to just pick a lighter colour, take it back in. So file, save as, let's save it as a JPEG copy, and okay, we're going to go into our drawing, insert picture, we're going to insert our drawing, which is M11 copy, like so. What you can do at this stage, delete these for a while, is you can start to annotate. If you go to insert, shapes and arrows, you can start saying, well, this top here is been made by cutting out a piece of MDF with a CNC router. We have sharp edges here, just control copy and control paste. Let's talk about these sharp edges, quite a low point really. Let's talk about how this join would be here. Try and avoid crossing arrows, they look pretty terrible. Try and avoid going across the whole drawing, because that clutters up the drawing as well. So there's a bit of skill in getting the arrows where they need to be, so they don't cross and they don't take up too much of the drawing. Now you can also just delete a few of those. Show the dimensions. So insert shapes, just draw a line, and we can go off like this, parallel to that line. Control copy, control V for speed, down there like so. Now we can draw a straight line, insert shape, and then that line. Now if I draw it down like that, we don't want it to be wonky this time, hold down shift and that keeps it either vertical or horizontal, draw between the two. If you right click this and go into format shape, we can say we want the end type to be that and the start type to be that, and that should have done it already. Yes, we can see it's got arrows on both sides. That's useful. That enables us to insert text. We can say that's a 30 centimeters for a very small side table, about a meter. This is where you use your tape measure and you'd work out what is correct. What is correct and it should be. Let's just try once more. There we go. So let's say 80, that was unblock, 80 millimeters. You need to work out whether I'm talking nonsense there or not. Use a tape measure, rotate it using this, and we pop it into place. That means we can discuss now its length relative to the specification, etc., etc. I would, however, keep that the same as black also as well. Okay, I hope you find those tips useful, and you can appreciate how we can start to use Photoshop to improve our work.